Welcome. I'm Shirley Marquardt-Tynan, Director of Marketing for Emerson's Operational Certainty Consulting Group. And I want to extend a warm welcome as you join us to learn more about navigating your digital transformation. This webinar is about the guiding principles required to reach your destination. And it's the second in our series of webinars. The first webinar was recorded live with Alex West of IHS Markit, and it was called Digital Transformation Today, the Status of the IoT Readiness. It will be available shortly on our website. Our webinar today will be broken into two sections. The first section will cover the guiding principles, and the second half will be around navigating your digital transformation. Quickly, to introduce our speakers today, we have Julian Annison, who is one of our principal consultants and the program manager for navigating your digital transformation. We also have Will Goetz, who's vice president leading our digital transformation consulting practice. With that, let me turn it over to Julian.
Thank you, Shirley. So good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Today we want to talk you through some of our experiences we've learned so far, working with our different customers across our different industries, about how we believe you can be successful in implementing a digital transformation. I particularly say so far because this is a very important opportunity for all our industries, but one which is also changing very rapidly. So if you joined us for our WebEx with IHS Markit, you will have heard from their research that nearly half of IoT projects fail. Now, we feel there is a lot of hype in this area. There's a real desire to do something positive, but often without the clarity of why and how. Maybe you're embarking on a journey, but not really knowing where you're going, so therefore you're struggling to know how to start. So therefore the Lewis Carroll quote here links us very nicely to our first principle of really understanding why. All too often we are approached by customers wanting to do something digital, even knowing or thinking it's the right approach, but then asking us what they should be doing next. The problem with this space is it's a bit like the kid with the shiny new toy. You know, we're all intrigued and attracted to it. We want to investigate it, and we want to start playing with it. There is often also a feeling to need to act now, or maybe a pressure or perceived pressure that if we don't do something now, we'll miss the boat. But in each of these cases, we often forget to understand the basic principles of why should we do this. So for you, in your organization, you need to understand what you really want to achieve. How will this differentiate you from your competition? You know, your greatest benefits might come from, say, improving your reliability or your value chain. But understand that every company's approach, therefore, needs to be different. There's no one fixed digital blueprint for you to implement. The next principle we want to share with you is all around how do you acquire and deploy intelligence. Now, I think there's a confusion around whether a digital transformation is the same as machine learning, and is machine learning actually all just about pattern recognition. There is also a suggestion that all we need to do is dump the whole of our data lake through this magical black box, and all the worlds of wisdom that we would ever need will be generated automatically. Now, I accept for some industries this may be their only option. But for our manufacturing industries, we are blessed with years and years of experience. We've got excellent engineers, and we've got vast quantities of technical information. So why shouldn't we capture and utilize all this? This links to the debate about predictive versus prescriptive analytics. And I personally believe that just using predictive analytics in the operating environment can actually have a negative impact. It carries the risk of creating operator overload through continually flagging potential problems without the context of what to do about it. But by using prescriptive intelligence, we can better understand the root causes of a problem or the opportunity, we can prescribe specific mitigations, and we can understand what the future impact would be if it was left unresolved. The technology step change that we're seeing now is the ability to bring together all this knowledge from equipment models, from root cause analysis, from FAMICAs, and probably including operating information, but bringing it all into one diagnostic package, and then routing the appropriate advice to the right person at the right time. Also, actually, perhaps the single biggest advantage of this prescriptive approach is really actually an unintentional one. And that's the codification of all that implicit knowledge and tribal learning that drives our organizations. This is a huge incidental benefit for our industry, and it's the sort of the greying generation and reducing numbers that it's going to help mitigate the impact of. We often talk about a roadmap, but it's not really a good analogy. Roadmaps are great when the geography isn't changing, when the road system is well established and we've got good maps to start with. But with digital transformation, none of these are true. What we discuss and plan will be vastly different from what we do in, say, 3 years' time. And if you find someone who can genuinely tell you what it will look like in 5 years, then please do make sure you buy a lottery ticket with them. Navigating through an ice flow is probably a much better model. We know where we are starting from, and that, of course, should be your first step to establish what you already have. We can develop a reasonably good vision of where we want to get to, albeit, don't forget, that might shift as you learn more about this approach and these technologies. And you also have some idea of the different sort of routes that could get you there. But your path will change dynamically with time. So how you manage and navigate that journey becomes critical to its success. But at the moment, all that we can do now with confidence is actually take that first step and then continually reevaluate it. So this links us to our final principle of ensuring you set up an organization that is capable of understanding this dynamic challenge. Build a set of people who can appreciate what the real objective is, know what the first steps are, and can be flexible enough to manage the changes and the challenges. Plant seed projects, ones which will grow and develop. Plan them so they will grow into the full garden and not be stranded in individual pots. Be prepared to nurture them, encourage the good ones, but have the confidence to weed out the bad ones. We would encourage you to build this around a properly structured program management office, because this is not a technology project, but it is in fact actually a change management project. It's all about your people and processes. In fact, actually, the technology becomes the easy bit to implement once you have the other two right. So that's our learning so far, condensed into 4 key principles that will help you deploy a digital transformation. Know what you are doing and why. Focus on the people. Start small, then nurture and grow, and be prepared to manage this dynamic process. Now, I realize each one of these topics would normally be a full discussion or WebEx, so please do feel free to contact us to discuss any of these in more detail. So with that, I'll hand you over to Will so that you can learn more about our digital transformation roadmap.
Thank you, Julian. Hi, everyone. I'm going to spend the next few minutes talking about the why, the what, and the how of creating a digital transformation roadmap. Behind the why, of course, is the value that digital transformation can create for enterprises. And Emerson has done quite a bit of research into different performance levels within the production domains within industrial companies. And, it's very evident that top quartile performance in safety, reliability, production, and emissions can release a tremendous amount of value. Emerson estimates that to be about $1 billion every year. Now, the hope and the plan, the goal with digital transformation is that the increased availability of information provided to the people who are engaged in operating your facilities leads to better performance, right? And it's really in aligning the digital programs that you invest in to achieving that performance improvement that it will release the value for your company. So our organization drives top quartile performance through digital transformation. And what's in it for most companies, on average, is around a 15% improvement in EBITDA. And that comes basically in moving to that top quartile performance. So, there's great potential benefits to most organizations from investing in improvement in these areas. And you can see that reliability has a significant impact, 7 to 10% improvement in EBITDA, production 3 to 5%, energy and emissions, similar 3 to 5%. And so as we go through the rest of the presentation, we'll talk a little bit about, how we align different capabilities to attaining those performance levels. So before I go on and talk more about why and, what is a digital transformation roadmap, I want to talk a little bit about, the focus, the areas that we are driving at, and really what we're trying to create for our customer organizations through an operational certainty engagement. And I think this model represents well where, a lot of this investment will be driven for most customers. So in the gray box in the lower right, is Emerson's core markets. So process control, traditional condition monitoring, areas where Emerson has a tremendous product portfolio and deep expertise. And I think what's new and different in this market today is that there's an adjacent space that we're calling monitoring and optimization, where the data and the information, the connectivity to assets, isn't necessarily involved in control of the process, isn't involved directly in changing the behavior of assets at the site. And so with that comes an opportunity, lower overhead, fewer firewalls to pass through, less security concerns associated with the data that moves through that channel. And I think what's really important, though, is that we're beginning to bring in many IT principles into the design of that infrastructure. We want consistency between each plant in the data and the way that the data flows up to enterprise IT. And that's going to enable, huge value once the data is consumed in that enterprise IT area. So if you're considering a data lake, it's that consistency from site to site that will ultimately support analytics and drive value for you. And in contrast, we see a lot of companies who have, legacy environments where point solutions have been laid on top of each other, one after another, and data lives in silos. And that is really, what I think most organizations are trying to avoid in designing the new approach to digital transformation and moving this data that's going to support them in monitoring and optimization. So our group really is focusing on bringing Emerson's expertise in this area to enabling customers to get access to their data and move that data at scale, and also provide consistency on an enterprise basis. So as we bring together kind of the why, right, the business value, with the what, how we're moving data and what data we need, we have a framework that allows us to connect those things together pretty effectively, right? And that is in using multiple domains, from sustainability, production management, safety and risk management, impact to the value chain, reliability and maintenance, along with enabling domains of system and data integration and organizational effectiveness. As we go through and evaluate where your organization exists today and its capabilities within these domains, we'll look at where you are and potentially where you could go and associate that to the business value associated with making that change. And through that process, we'll develop a set of potential investments that you could make that are associated with payback for the business. So we know that it is absolutely critical to bring together that qualitative evaluation and business case with the people who are going to execute the new model, the new capabilities when they're in place. And we begin that by taking your group of stakeholders through the process in a workshop. We'll evaluate, each one of the options we've identified through the digital maturity model assessment. We'll bring that together with benchmarking against key performance indicators internally within your organization and external sources for those benchmarks as well. And we'll also provide additional analyses that help quantify, right, and drive that discussion with a group of stakeholders who basically end up investing in this, right, and become the champions of the program as we move it forward. So engage the stakeholders, work together jointly to design the program, build the vision of the future, and ultimately put that together in the form of a roadmap. So this slide depicts an example of a completed assessment that illustrates where the organization is currently and their desire to invest in and move forward with new capabilities. And the plan that ties together each of those investments is illustrated in the roadmap on the right. So we know that digital transformation is not, one project. It's going to consist of change management, and it's going to consist of many different infrastructure projects as well as discrete applications and investment in new technology. And this roadmap illustrates that all of those activities need to be balanced and brought together into a comprehensive plan in order for the investment to be successful. One of the key offerings that Emerson provides is continued management of that roadmap with your organization. So we're invested for the long haul. We're interested in having our people with deep expertise continue to be involved with your organization to help ensure that the roadmap itself that's been decided on is executed and aligned to delivering the value throughout the life cycle of that program. And it's also very important for the program management office to, continue to adapt and bring in new opportunities and make sure that they are managed within the same framework as the original roadmap. And so the PMO is continually looking at the landscape, revising the roadmap, looking at the next projects, and then, staying engaged in the execution of the next projects. All right, so the last slide is a summary that describes our approach to navigating your digital transformation. I think it's really important, to have that navigation concept in mind as you begin a digital transformation journey, because it is not going to be a linear process. There will be adaptation to new technology. There'll be adaptation to business conditions. There'll be adaptation to surprises. And it's very important that the plan be flexible and able to accommodate those changes as they arise, because this should be, a multi-year investment and transformation program. That, of course, will begin with assessment. And I think it's really important to have a method of connecting the business value to the potential technical investments that you could make. And our digital maturity model provides that. Of course, collaboration is a key. You need investment from stakeholders from the very beginning. And the process that we've developed allows the input from those stakeholders on the selection of the investments that your organization is going to make. And we put that together in a tangible way in the roadmap that everyone can look to and measure progress against. And then, of course, management. And management of the projects within that overall program, as well as adaptation and introduction of new projects and new capabilities as those come along and will add value to the overall program. And ultimately, it's transformation that we're after. So it's in the measurement of performance indicators for the business overall and the impact that the roadmap is having on them. Thanks very much.
Thank you for joining us. For more information about navigating your digital transformation or to learn more about operational certainty consulting, feel free to contact us directly at the emails on the slide or visit our web pages. Thank you.